What happens when the most feared driver on the grid suddenly becomes the most wanted, and whispers of Max Verstappen swapping Red Bull's Scarlet for Mercedes' Silver Start echoing through every garage and broadcast booth? Around the paddock, the rumor mill churned with relentless energy as whispers of Max Verstappen's possible switch from Red Bull to Mercedes took hold, painting every garage and media center with speculation. Analysts like Martin Brundle argued that landing Verstappen would represent a blockbuster signing that could leave Red Bull in a pretty dire situation, because stripping your fiercest rival of its champion feels as potent as any on-track maneuver. Behind closed doors, Toto Wolff admitted that Mercedes had held summer talks with Verstappen's management as far back as last year, driven by the notion that the door was never completely closed on a driver of his caliber. Yet while Mercedes explored possibilities, Wolff reminded his team that he would not flirt outside when he had a good relationship with George Russell and Andrea Kimi Antonelli, signaling his desire to focus on the current lineup rather than chase headlines. Supporters of the rumor pointed to clauses in Verstappen's contract agreements that could activate a break option should performance targets not be met, as clear signs the conversation was more than fantasy. But racing insiders cautioned that such clauses only come alive under extraordinary circumstances. In recent interviews, Verstappen himself brushed aside the talk with characteristic brevity, saying, "I determine my own future," and insisting that the more I say about it, the more it will be reported in the media. Injusters note that this measured refusal to engage is classic Verstappen just to think of. Always on message, never off, forcing teams and fans to read between the lines. Meanwhile, pundits offered contrasting reviews. Some hailed Mercedes as wise to test the waters, praising the team's ambition and willingness to challenge Red Bull for supremacy. Others warned that disrupting a stable team environment for a superstar, however talented, risked undermining the very harmony that drives consistent performance. In the midst of these swirling narratives, George Russell's status emerged as a focal point. Out of contract at season's end, Russell was quick to downplay any threat to his seat, declaring that the likelihood of him leaving Mercedes was exceptionally low, and emphasizing his loyalty to a team that brought him through the junior ranks. With an optimistic smile, he told reporters that he was happy to be teammates with anybody, a comment both gracious and astute, as it framed the story not as an internal conflict, but as evidence of Mercedes' allure to the very best drivers. Toto Wolff echoed this sentiment, stressing that conversations about Verstappen had no bearing on Russell's contract timeline or his future with the team, underlining the principal's commitment to transparency and fairness. Critics of the saga argued that this high-stakes chess game off the track could distract Mercedes from the championship battle on it, where both Russell and rookie Antonelli are locked in a tough fight against Red Bull's formidable lineup. The team's engineers have warned that focusing too much on headline-grabbing negotiations risks diverting resources and attention from car development, especially when aerodynamic and reliability gains are so marginal yet so crucial. One veteran engineer, speaking on condition of anonymity, lamented that you cannot afford to let media storms infiltrate the wind tunnel schedule. Every hour in there counts, a sentiment echoed by former mechanics who recall missing vital upgrades in the past due to boardroom dramas. From Red Bull's side, Christian Horner took the rumors in stride, responding playfully by eyeing McLaren's Oscar Piastri as a potential replacement should Verstappen depart, even jesting that Piastri's ascension carried with it bigger deposits and fines, in a nod to proposed protest reforms across the sport. Helmut Marko, the veteran advisor known for his blunt assessments, downplayed any fissures, insisting that Verstappen remained fully committed to his Red Bull contract through 2028, and that the focus remained on ensuring the team kept pushing the boundaries of performance. Reviews from industry insiders suggest that such public confidence is essential to quell unrest within the garage, where mechanics and strategists alike thrive on certainty and stability. Across social media and fan forums, reactions varied wildly. Some lauded Mercedes for daring to dream big, envisioning a dream duo of Russell and Verstappen that could redefine team orders and race strategies for years to come. Others decried what they saw as a cynical power play, arguing that Formula One's soul lies in its unpredictability and that a mega team stacking the grid with champions would erode the sport's competitive balance. Amid tweets and headlines, the voices of drivers themselves became precious commodities. Lewis Hamilton, now a veteran of Ferrari, quipped during the British Grand Prix that he regretted once dismissing Red Bull as just a drinks company, a remark he said undervalued their impressive haul of titles and technical prowess. His lighthearted admission served not only as a personal mea culpa, but as a reminder that reputations and relationships in F1 can shift as swiftly as a pit stop. As speculation intensified ahead of the British Grand Prix weekend, Mercedes engineering director spoke of an exciting yet delicate challenge, balancing the normal rhythm of race preparation with the undercurrent of contractual intrigue. This dual focus was evident in Silverstone's pit lane, where team members scurried between garage and paddock club, their faces betraying a mix of concentration on telemetry and curiosity about every overheard snippet of conversation. A remark he said undervalued their impressive haul of titles and technical prowess. His lighthearted admission served not only as a personal mea culpa, but as a reminder that reputations and relationships in F1 can shift as swiftly as a pit stop. As speculation intensified ahead of the British Grand Prix weekend, Mercedes' engineering director spoke of an exciting yet delicate challenge, balancing the normal rhythm of race preparation with the undercurrent of contractual intrigue. This dual focus was evident in Silverstone's pit lane, where team members scurried between garage and paddock club, their faces betraying a mix of concentration on telemetry and curiosity about every overheard snippet of conversation. Some personnel joked that they needed noise-canceling headphones just to finish setting up the windscreen deflectors, while others admitted they were poring over legal appendices rather than lap charts. Amid the noise, one thing remained clear. Even if Verstappen ultimately stayed at Red Bull, and all signs point to that, given his current contract through 2028, Mercedes' strategic exploration signaled a shift in the balance of power. It underscored the team's hunger not only to improve on track, but to assert itself off it, reminding everyone that in Formula One, the battle for supremacy extends far beyond the checkered flag. In this mid-script moment, the saga is less about concrete outcomes and more about the tension that crackles when two giants contemplate colliding. Whether it ends with a sensational transfer or a face-saving retreat, the ripples of this story will be felt in every sector of the paddock, shaping conversations, strategies, and rivalries well into the next season and beyond. Even as the final laps fade into memory and the grandstands empty beneath the floodlights, the story of this near collision between two of Formula One's greatest names continues to pulse beneath the surface. Because what matters most is not the signature on the dotted line, but the questions it leaves in its wake. Picture the unseen conversations in plush hospitality suites, where managers and team principals weigh not only lap times but personalities, work ethics, and the subtle chemistry that can make or break a championship campaign. Think of the engineers who pore over telemetry data by day and speculate over contract clauses by night, knowing that a silver steering wheel in Verstappen's hands could rewrite every benchmark they have set. Remember the junior engineers whose faces light up with possibility at the mere thought of learning from a three-time world champion, or the mechanics who imagine the thrill of fitting his helmet. Behind the gleaming helmets and polished circuits lies a tapestry of human ambition woven through every bolt and silken radio transmission. When Toto Wolff admitted that doors were never fully closed, he wasn't speaking only of contracts, but of an ethos that prizes relentless progress. An ethos shared, reluctantly or not, by every team that dares to cross the start line. And when Max himself downplayed the chatter with a few carefully chosen words, he revealed more about the power of silence than any headline ever could. His refusal to be swayed by gossip speaks to the confidence of a driver who knows his own strengths and fears no rival, because true greatness rarely needs to shout. Yet that very calm creates ripples that extend well beyond his helmet visor, nudging team strategies, boardroom priorities, and the emotional tides of a fan base that lives for every twist in the tale. Meanwhile, George Russell and the rising star Andrea Kimi Antonelli find themselves in a curious spotlight of their own. Russell's steadfast loyalty and measured optimism remind us that team culture can sometimes outweigh individual glory, while Antonelli's fresh perspective hints at a future where youth and experience merge to form a new powerhouse. Their reactions to the saga tell us more than any official statement. One smiles with the assurance of a driver secure in his role, the other bristles with the excitement of a rookie eager to prove himself. Together, they embody the dynamic balance that makes a championship team more than just a collection of lap records. It becomes a living organism driven by trust, respect, and a shared hunger for success. On the other side of the garage, Red Bull's reaction offers its own lessons in leadership and resilience. Christian Horner's playful jabs about replacements and Helmut Marko's blunt reaffirmations of Verstappen's commitment are not mere PR maneuvers, but strategic gestures designed to steady the ship amid tumultuous seas. Their confidence projects calm to everyone from the tire changers in the pit lane to the millions watching at home, proving that sometimes the most effective defense is a united front. And yet, even as they speak of long-term plans and unwavering loyalties, they cannot fully escape the shadow of possibility cast by a rival's interest. That shadow is where true drama lives, in the uncertain moments when even the most meticulous preparations can be upended by a single signature or handshake. Beyond the garages and boardrooms lies the beating heart of the sport, the fans. Each one brings their own allegiances, hopes, and frustrations into every Grand Prix weekend. Some cheer for the idea of a Verstappen-Russell duo that could rewrite history, imagining a future where racing's brightest minds collaborate rather than collide. Others recoil at the thought, fearing that such an alliance might drain the unpredictable spark that fuels the sport's greatest moments. Their debates on social media and in crowded pubs echo the larger narrative, reminding us that Formula One is not simply a contest of speed, but a tapestry of stories woven by countless voices. Each tweet, each post, each animated discussion adds another brushstroke to the canvas, shaping how we remember the season and how we anticipate the next. And so, as we wind down this chapter without truly closing the book, it becomes clear that the saga's real power lies not in where Verstappen ends up, but in what his possible move illuminates about the sport as a whole. It reveals the delicate interplay between ambition and allegiance, between the cold calculus of performance data and the warm pulse of human emotion. It reminds us that every contract clause, every polite deflection in an interview, and every whispered rumor in the paddock can carry the weight of careers and redefine the meaning of teamwork. More than that, it shows us that in Formula One, endings are rarely final. They are simply the momentary pause before the next acceleration, the instant between one turn and the next where everything feels possible. So as you reflect on this tale of summer talks held behind closed doors, of brake options lurking in fine print, of a champion's measured silence and a team's quiet ambition, remember that the greatest stories are those that leave us leaning forward, hungry for the next twist. The checkered flag may wave, but the real race often occurs off the track, in the strategies, alliances, and dramas that unfurl in the shadows of the garages. The next time you hear the high-pitched whine of the turbo, let your mind wander to those hidden meetings and unspoken agreements, because that is where history is made. And though this segment draws to a close, the season presses on, with fresh opportunities for surprise, for upheaval, and for moments that defy every expectation. In Formula One, a conclusion is never an endpoint. It is merely a pit stop on the way to the next great story.